Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Suchi, and welcome to AI Minute Mondays. Our topic for today is AI in the nutrition and the health space. And joining me today to help unpack this topic is Yaya Ali, who is the founder and CEO of DrunR, an app which helps people monitor and manage and plan their food intake while providing them with personalized guidance based on their own nutritional requirements and access to restaurants in the area. Yaya, thank you so much for joining us. So glad to have you here on the show. And for the sake of our viewers, if you can share a little bit about your background, that would be great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Suchi, for having me, and very excited to be part of the of your show. And yeah, thank you. So, my background sits at the intersection of technology, product development, and healthcare. So, I have spent the last decade or so working like in building system that with the goal of how can we make people make better decisions and how we can simplify like a complicated process or workflow to make it easier to use for them. uh, Similar DrunR, so like a year or so, we start working in DrunR, which comes out of a personal experience I went through as someone who had to deal with a chronic metabolic disease and being a pre-diabetes. So I came out of this experience very aware of the gap between what my doctor used to tell me during the clinic visits and what I should actually do after that. So, the doctor, when you visit a doctor, they will give you like a specific, tips and ideas, like, this is what you need to do so your treatment plan can work. But as you know, in between doctor visits, there is 100 and 1,000 of hours and decision that we have today, day to day. What should I eat? How was my sleep last night? Did I move enough today? How stressed I am with my work? And, how can I make everything that I have to deal with my day to day so my treatment plan work. And that gap is what led us to build the runner. So we are building your behavior intelligence layer, and we started with GLP-1 and metabolic care patients. GLP-1, by the way, is like patient using Ozempic, Wegovy, and the weight
Mhm,
loss medications. And we're trying to help patients making the better decision in their daily life,
mhm.
while at the same time giving their doctor or healthcare providers, dietitian, nutritionists, whoever they're working with visibility into their day-to-day environment. So we're building this bridge that can connect you as a user or a patient with your healthcare team if you're working with them, so everybody will be sync and looking at the same day-to-day behavior that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Yaya, for sharing your personal story. That is super inspiring that Dirana has come out of your personal experience and you're using it to kind of bridge that whole big gap between what the doctor's telling you and how do you actually go about and live your life.
Yeah.
So coming now to talk about D-Runner a little bit more, can you explain a little bit more about what do you mean by personalized guidance that D-Runner provides, and how does it help an end user keep track of his food intake? And usually we go and we eat out at restaurants, we do all of these things. So how
Yeah.
does it kind of fit into that whole scheme of things?
Awesome. Yeah, sure thing. Okay, let's simplify the thing. So if you ask me, okay, so I'm gonna try to package what the runner is doing in a single question. So every single time we're open the runner in a day, so there is the one question that we're trying to answer for you. So here is the thing. So given what is the state of my body today and my treatment plan or health goal, what is the best realistic choice I can make right now? So this is the personalization level that we're trying to go now. So we're reading in real time what is your body's going on, what's the treatment plan, and now we tell you what you need right now, not just the
Mhm,
static information that you can get. And as you know, like look into the environment or the ecosystem for nutrition and day-to-day behavior, a lot of nutrition tools today, they give you basically a static meal plan. You can
mhm,
ask ChatGPT, give me a meal
mhm,
plan. They will do that for you, but
mhm.
it's very static and they can give
Yeah.
you to a million other people run you.
Mhm, mhm,
Other apps that you buy their license, they ask you to manually log everything you eat. Very details like you should tell them I have one egg or white egg versus this is the type
mhm, mhm,
manual thing that you do. But in real life,
Mm.
We are not static. We go to
Yeah.
restaurants, we travel, we work late, we sleep
Mm.
very bad, we exercise differently from one day to day, like to the
Mm.
next
Mm.
one. So or experience a change, like if you're doing the GLP-1 medication, you're going to experience a change in your appetite and your digestion system. So DrunR look like, the differentiator DrunR is doing, we're looking at different type of information together. So basically we connect with your smart wearables and we can read your body signals right now. We build the baseline for you. What is your goal, like, female, male, the age and the medication context around you. What is the environment around you? So we read the weather temperature, what is the time of the day, and at the end of a lot more, like, inputs data for that. Then we use that information to basically build a picture of you as a user or a patient, current state as of now. So for
Mm.
example, me, I did sleep bad last night.
Mm.
I did move little because I was working from home.
Mm.
I I had so many meetings in the morning that my first meal was at lunch. And my goal is like, how can I preserve muscles and make my glucose stable with the GLP-1 medication?
Mm.
Now, the runner, me recommendation will be let's start with a smaller portion that it is, filled with fiber.
Mm.
And because we build a nutrition graphic for all restaurants in your city,
Mm.
in-house, we can suggest you a specific menu item from the restaurants around you.
Mm.
And also, we recommend like, a short walk afterward.
Mm.
Rather than asking you trying to preserve your muscles, so you need to eat like a 6 ounce stick 3 times a day because you need protein. You see, so your
Mm. Mm.
state is different than the static
Yeah.
information you can get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, the goal of the runner us is
Mm-hmm.
not to take away your personal normal lifestyle. It's
Mm.
basically the opposite. We're trying to adapt. If you're traveling, we adapt to that. If you're moving little, we adapt to that. So at the end of the day, we're giving you, exactly what you need right now based on your lifestyle.
Thank you. That is super interesting. I love the way you put it, saying you are adapting to what we have, to our lifestyle, because that's the reality. I mean, we
Yeah.
may be on a diet, but we still go and eat out at restaurants.
Yeah, and we travel. So, like,
We travel.
can you
Yeah.
call your doctor while like in a vacation somewhere in United States or outside? They are not available 24/7. They
Mm.
can't.
Mm.
So that's the type of gap, like, with the real lifestyle reality that we're trying to help, like,
Thank
minimize.
Thank you. So I have another question for you. So a lot of people, when you say AI, they start getting a little bit concerned about can I really trust this AI output, especially for something like a medical or a health
Yeah.
related app. And that's where, a lot of people have these concerns. They are like, I don't know if AI is hallucinating. Is it okay for me to take that advice? So what are your thoughts on this and how does DRunner actually address these issues?
Okay. So this is probably like the day-to-day or the most important question we at DRunner try to improve and make sure it is aligned every single day. So if there is a single task, like, we must work on every single day as a whole team, will be the safety and the trust of our recommendation. And I'm gonna have a quote here. AI is smart and become smarter, and let's put that on the side. So when we start, when we first start beginning work designing the runner, so the obvious approach for us back then was like, okay, so like so many AI products today, let's collect some available data, build a structure, and we send wrap this data in a prompt and send
Mm.
it to the LLM and ask them to generate the recommendation. And this was very tempting because, again, back to the AI is smart. LLM is super smart. They are excellent in producing a very confident and natural language that makes you feel, yeah, you're telling me the right thing. That's exactly what I need. But
Mm.
we realized that there was a serious problem that's coming out. So if we give the LLM raw data and ask them, what should this person eat? We are asking the single model to do too many things at once. We ask them to translate the signals, the body signals we have, decide which one of these signals matter, and build the current condition for a person and apply nutrition and health rules, select recommendation, then explain all of that output into the user. And all this, believe it or not, all of this is happening in a black box
mm,
because you cannot track the LLM, you cannot debug the
mm,
LLM at
mm,
some
mm,
point. You just
mm,
throwing everything in a black hole and getting the recommendation that you in a language that makes you, you know what? I think that's okay. Uh, but this finding, like, that there is too much going on, and there is a trust violation maybe that we or a trap we're walking to, that we need to, we have to change the whole architecture. So what we're doing at DRunner, before we ask an LLM to say anything, we first created, like, a structured understand of that person current state. So basically we get the inputs, we apply scoring system, rules, models, safety boundaries, and we use a clinical nutrition constraints. All this. Then once we have the current state, we say, based on the state what right now from our recommendation schedule here on the right side, which one can match or work better for the users.
mm,
At this point, we have everything we need under a safety umbrella. Then we send this recommendation to the LLM and we ask them, use your English or your French
mm,
or Spanish to
mm,
communicate this
mm,
our recommendation in a plain language or a native language to your user. This basically now the LLM, we flip the LLM from being the reasoning engine
mm,
to be
mm,
the communication engine.
mhm,
So basically, they are not doing anything with the reason; they just communicate that uh, very quickly. So a lot of benefits, and maybe I'm sharing this with your audience and and remind myself that out of this moving the LLM to the end of the workflow give us, like, a clear base to, like, now we can exactly find out which data points influenced this recommendation, what
mhm,
rules we applied, which one we didn't, what safety boundaries that we triggered, and
mm,
we can also understand why the runner came back and recommended, like, a salmon omelet from your restaurant's menu versus, like, the salmon by itself. We can
right.
understand now why this recommendation came first in top. And also, like, it's a trustful because we're working with healthcare, so your doctor need to feel confident about the runner and you as well. So that's the
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Yaya, for sharing that and for sharing all these details about DRunner. Wishing you and DRunner all the best for the future. And just to kind of quickly summarize, what we've seen is that in the wellness space, apps like DRunner, they basically have a lot of potential to simplify your daily decision making, whether it's around food, whether it's around what's your intake, whether it's around your whole lifestyle. And this kind of personalized guidance that you're providing, this can help people adhere to long-term healthier habits, right? And basically improve your overall lifestyle because it's integrating to what you already have, your recommendations, and to you. So thank you for sharing that. Wishing you and D-Runner all the best for the future. And thank you for joining us on the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. Thank you.